Alright, so you want to carry a gun. You have made the decision to actually protect yourself and your family. That is great and everything is good with that, but there are some things that you definitely want to consider before you strap up. Welcome to the channel. My name is Heckshot87. Thank you guys for joining us. If you're not familiar with our channel, we do mainly concealed carry videos and gun reviews and things like that. So if you want to join us and you want to be linked with us every time we do a brand new video, just hit that subscribe button down below. It doesn't cost you a thing and you'll be linked with us every time we do one. We got some pretty cool things coming in the future, so make sure to stay tuned for that. So you've decided to carry a gun. This is really aimed at those people that have not yet started to carry. Maybe you just got your permit, you're waiting on it to come in, but there's some definite things that we want to go over before you actually put on that gun. Over 5 main points, and we're going to expand on those points. So the first thing you want to think about, and these are in no particular order, I guess. It really is a top 5 kind of thing, but it's not in any particular order. A gun is great and everything, but if you find yourself in a situation where you are leaving the gun at home saying, I don't know if I want to carry this today, you really want to reconsider what you're carrying and why you're carrying. Obviously the gun isn't going to do you any good if it's sitting in the safe and you're out on the road, out at the mall with your family, whatever the case may be. So you really need to think about that. You need to make a conscious decision. I'm going to carry this. It's not always going to be this uncomfortable. It does get a little bit taxing, especially when you first start carrying, and I think that's where a lot of people get into the bad habit of not carrying every day. In the beginning, you don't have your system down yet, and you find it to be uncomfortable. I personally did. I started carrying an M&P 9C in a holster that I was not fond of and without a gun belt, and I would find myself leaving the gun at home and not carrying it on me somewhere. So it's definitely something you need to make that conscious decision to definitely carry every day. Just like you grab your keys and your phone in the morning, make sure you grab your gun and stick with it. The second point we're going to go over is how are you going to carry? So there's so many different options that you can look at. You can look at inside the waistband, outside the waistband, bra, ankle, small of the back. However you want to carry, you need to experiment with it. This is where videos like what we do and other people do with holsters and gear and that type of stuff will really come in handy, so you can get an idea of what different types of systems look like. Now, it's only going to be up to you. You're going to have to wear this stuff to really get an idea, but at least videos like what we do will give you an idea of, okay, that may work for me, this may not work for me. So you really need to decide how are you going to carry that gun. Experiment with it. Can also be pretty fun, carrying, trying different holsters and things like that. We work with a couple of great companies that actually offer discounts to you guys, so if that's something that you're interested in, you can check the links to those videos down below, because buying holsters and gun belts and things like that is an expense on top of your gun purchase, and that's something that you need to take in consideration. Not only the ammo, but the holsters and belts and stuff that goes along with it. So experiment with it, find what you like, stick with it, be consistent, and have fun doing it. Range time. Range time is going to be so important to you. That period before you get your permit, while you're waiting on your permit, whatever, and definitely when you get your gun, hit the range, man. Take your wife, take your kids, hit the range. If you haven't picked out a gun yet, try to get to a range that will let you rent out a gun. That is something that you can do. If you buy, like here locally, if you buy their ammo, you can use their gun, and as long as you pay the initial fee and you still have their ammo, you can rent out as many different guns as you want. So that's something. Get these guns in your hand, see how they feel to you, watch videos, and kind of get an idea. If somebody tells you, hey, this is the gun you need to buy, this is going to be perfect for you, turn around and walk away, because nobody knows what gun is going to be right for you. Only you are going to be able to decide that. But hitting the range is very important. I think there's way too many people that get a gun, load it up, put it on, and never practice with it. So make sure you get a gun and practice with it. Practice, 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 practice. If you go back and watch some of our older videos, they're still out there, although they can be kind of embarrassing sometimes. It took a long time for us to be able to get shots where we want them, and we're continuously learning. Now, we have fun with it. We enjoy doing it. But it takes a lot of rounds, it takes a lot of practice, training. If you can afford to go and do training, that's awesome. But hit the range, make sure you're good with that gun, because you may be in a crowded environment when something happens. You may have to draw that gun in a crowded environment. And if you can't hit the broadside of a barn, you don't need to be strapping on the gun. That's just the way it is. So keep that in mind. Make sure you hit the range with your new gun. The next point we're gonna make is the gun needs to be something that you can shoot well. Now, we touched on this a little bit before, but you really need to do your research on what kind of gun you want to get. Is it going to be strictly home defense? Is it going to be strictly range gun? Is it going to be carry and range? Is it going to be a combination of all three? Preferably, hopefully, if you're watching this video, you're thinking about concealed carry, or this is something that you want to take the next step in. There's so many different options, and we're going to actually be starting a series with the top 5 classes of the guns that we deal with, subcompacts and single stacks and compacts. So stay tuned for those videos, and maybe they will help you out. But you really have to get these guns in your hand. You cannot take the word of your best friend that just told you about this gun and assume it's going to be right for you. Everybody's different. Guns fit people's hands different, and you should be able to adapt to each gun you want to shoot. Any platform out on the table, if you have a 1911 or a Glock 19, you should be able to shoot them all pretty good, but find one that works for you. Like I said, go to the range, rent them, go to the range with your buddies who has a bunch of handguns, and see what works for you. Put it in your hands and find something that you will actually enjoy and that you can shoot well. And the last point I'm gonna make is, are you prepared to pull the trigger if you have to? This is a big deal. This is not, some little game. This is not Grand Theft Auto or Call of Duty. Basically, you need to make the conscious decision that I am going to protect myself and my family, and I am going to protect them with any means necessary if it comes down to that. You have to think about the legal side of it. You have to think about the financial side of it. Concealed carry insurance or memberships, that we're part of USCCA. I love those guys, and I feel comfortable knowing that if something happens, I know that I'm going to be in the right. I'm not just going to go out and just shoot somebody, but I know it will be justified, but I also know that somebody will have my back, if it ever comes to that. But you got to make that decision. If you're going to carry a gun, if you're going to make that decision to protect your family and yourself, you got to know that without a shadow of a doubt, first of all, that you're in the right, and second of all, that you're going to pull the trigger and do what you need to do. Now, keep in mind, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not offering any kind of legal advice, but what I'm saying is that if something bad happens, you need to know that you can actually do what needs to be done and deal with the consequences after. It's a big deal. It's something that is very unlikely to happen, but you want to be prepared. Obviously, that's why we do these videos. So get prepared, get your gun. Make sure it's something that you can shoot well and that you are going to be able to go to the range and shoot with. Hopefully these tips helped you guys out. If you have any tips, down in the comments below for any newbies or anybody coming into the scene, leave them down below. Let other people know what is important to you and what your decisions were whenever you were deciding to conceal carry. Make sure to subscribe. We have a lot coming up in the future. We have our Walking Dead video series as well. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one. And as always, hold them down.